Hey guys, and welcome to probably one of the hardest videos I'm going to have to make on my channel. And it's a very scary one to make, even though it's something I've kind of touched on a little bit and talked about a little bit. But with this being a little bit more on the mainstream side, and if you guys have clicked on the title, clicked on the video, whatever, I was actually involved in CoffeeZilla, who's been a very good content creator. If you guys are not familiar with them in my, community or whatever, he has quite a few million subs. He's been involved in a lot of different types of crypto fraud, drama, con out scammers, and everything in between. And I was involved in the most recent video, which I'm going to go talk about and showcase over here, and kind of react to, I guess, and kind of give my live thoughts and reactions to, I guess, how heartbreaking and how destroyed my life actually was in regards to this Celsius scam. This is a very hard topic for me to talk about, and I'm sure this video is not going to be good. If you guys are one of my normal subscribers, it's probably going to be an awful video. I had this video went live 10 hours ago. If I was a good content creator, I would have reacted to it like the second it went live and watched it and kind of milked it, I guess. But it's really hard to watch. It's really hard to watch my own self. I can literally show you guys the video in a second. I'm literally in the video. I've had actually quite a few people tweeting me and Discord at me and be like, "Oh, what is this? Like, what's going on?" I've had people be like, "Bro, what happened? Like, what?" It's been hard. It's been hard, and it's not a video I want to make. I made a video on it kind of similar to my channel itself, but I think I kind of try my best to gloss over it. But basically, Celsius, if you guys don't know, is a company, it was a crypto company back in time. There's a few other different companies too as well that were very, kind of, I guess, plagued with fraud. You had CEOs that were basically embezzling out money, and it's just been a bad situation. For someone like me, and I've shown this in my channel before, I had $267,000 on the platform itself, which as of right now is currently ongoing through bankruptcy. The past quite a few months of my life, I've spent until 5 or 6 in the morning, literally going, writing court docs or being involved with that, or writing my own claim forms, wherever it might be. You guys can even kind of look through, even you guys can even see my specific name. If you guys know me, my name's Luke Noack over here. And I'm not trying my best to stall a bankruptcy course or whatever, but there's terms of contract conditions, things that are really weird. In my honest opinion, in terms of just pure looking one-to-one in contracts, my stuff should be in that separate allocation, stuff like that. It's big legal stuff. It's one of the craziest things I've ever been involved in my life. And like I said, I probably fallen on myself crying because I've messed up my life. I messed up the trajectory of my life really bad. But the thing is, I've also seen now other people in the community I've met, that women, that are retired. They had their retirement amount money in these types of accounts, like a Genesis or a BlockFi or, like a Celsius. I've met people who have literally killed themselves. And a lot of folks that have been involved in this have not been happy. And it's a hard thing to talk about because, like I said, for me, my life has changed dramatically since, 10 months ago when Celsius happened. And I don't know the difference of myself. At this point, I wake up and I'm still in a daze and I don't even know what I'm doing in my life. And it's been really hard. So CoffeeZilla himself has had a chance to expose some of these bigger frauds and crypto frauds or whatever. And today he actually made a video. Like I said, I was involved in this video itself. This is where I get scared because I don't want to actually really watch it because it's almost like facing your reality over here. And I've been trying my best, and you get a little bit of money back. It's fine. But it's been a very heartbreaking thing to the point where I haven't even watched the video that I'm in. And if I was a content creator, that's the first thing you should do. Those should be you farming the Twitter, you farming the videos. But I just think it's really hard to do. And it's a scary situation. And I was talking with Coffee before in the interview. He said it's fine to react to it. If anything, I would encourage you guys to go and support him. He's been a very good guy. I'm going to have his video, the original video itself, linked down below to give him credit. If you guys want to watch it, give him ad money, whatever it might be. And I'm really afraid to do this. I do want to give a little special shout out to. I was talking to Kai. I'm going to give her little potato over here. Thank you, Kai. I asked her for good luck before I made this video because I just know it's going to be a weird one and a strange one. So thank you for dealing with my dumbass. Whenever I talk to you, I literally just love you. You're literally the best person. So I want to go and show you guys this where CoffeeZilla, if you guys haven't seen, I can literally see my stupid face over here on the bottom right. Let's watch this. I'm going to give you guys some of my thoughts on how awful this is. It's going to be a long video itself. If you guys see any ads, you'll help me out over here, boys, but it's rough. If you guys don't know, Celsius basically just scammed billions of dollars, lost billions of dollars, the dumbest company I think I've ever seen. Might have been a Ponzi at this point. I'm an idiot for being involved. So let's go and see what our boy, CoffeeZilla, who, like I said, was a very nice guy. He was nice to me, gave me advice, gave me good words. I would give him a hug. I'd buy him a beer. Good deal. Let's watch this.
It's a billion-dollar company that told its customers to unbank yourself with crypto. But then last year, they declared bankruptcy and sold a new shirt. Unbankrupt yourself. Now, at the time, I reported on extreme incompetence, but stopped short of using the F word, fraud, because we just didn't have all the evidence. But today,
I do want to go. He's probably going to chime this in this video too as well. I've been very in depth with this one. There was an actual examiner report that cost $20 million and was around 900 pages. I'm not exaggerating. I went through almost the entire thing, especially for my own, like, you know, my actual legal doc itself. And the sad thing is too, the judge himself even kind of basically said it was hearsay because it was not even under proper oath. So at this point, the actual company itself that wants to give that money back out to all the creditors, aka people like me and the people who are literally homeless at this point or have families and can't support their families, they literally said it was hearsay and couldn't even use it in terms of fraud. Now, they probably will if you also have a chance to maybe use it as leverage to bring that into proper court. You possibly could, but yeah, it's awful.
Today, that changes because of thousands of pages of new court documents, Celsius insiders talking, and my personal interviews with victims. Make no mistake, this was a gigantic...
Wait, did he call me a victim? Wait, can I get to at least go brag about this? Let's see, did I show up? Wait, I didn't even make it on the victim page. I'm so sad. This is not me over there. Okay, I'm a little bit sad about that one, but whatever.
Personal interviews with victims. Make no mistake, this was a gigantic fraud. People's lives have been ruined, and the founder might get away with it. So to help shine a light on this issue, here is my full investigation into the crypto lender, Celsius.
Thank you, Coffee. In all honesty, dude, I love CoffeeZilla. I think the internet needs someone like him. Just saying. Like, I'm very happy with this content.
Talking about taking back power.
I despise this man. I literally, I hope he rots in jail for the rest of his life.
It's really not even from the government. It's really from corporations that dominate our lives. And that system, right, does not work for 95% of the people on the planet. Why? Because the banks control all the money in the world. We talk about all the money in the world. What Celsius does is really helps people navigate in a safe way into this environment. So when you use a Celsius wallet, you know, okay, I'm gonna earn yield and I'm gonna stay safe in a safe environment because Celsius already did the homework and figured out what's safe. Normally,
bro, this guy lost, I'm not even exaggerating, you guys, like $5 billion. This guy is awful. In their terms of service, they try to have a clause stating that they actually own the assets inside that, which is why I'm actually kind of very advocate in terms of the actual court law. That's why we're actually, I think, in my opinion, why I'm so determined on this one, because I do not want to have the future of cryptocurrency and like people having digital assets having to go and have like ownership laws and say like a Coinbase or a Kraken or any other type of like investment vehicle, because this is not how it should be. Like if you buy Apple stock, that does not mean that Vanguard or Fidelity should own that. And this is the same exact thing for crypto. And at that point, that's one of my biggest, I think, drives towards even trying to do anything in type of court in terms of ownership laws, because this guy is the biggest, like if I knew how to do a funny like fake spit sound, I would. I despise this man. Him and his wife, horrible people.
we trust people that we think are acting in our best interest.
Ugh.
But what if these people are not acting in our best interest? What if their interest is exactly the opposite of ours? Should we continue giving them our money, or should we take the money and put it somewhere else?
To understand Celsius and how they got 30 billion in assets, you first have to understand what they were selling. It wasn't just a place to borrow or lend money. It was more than that. It was a battle against the evil banks. And their CEO, Alex Mashinsky, was here to level the playing field.
Banks are not your friends.
But Alex is your friend?
Yes. So I have a lot of my own money in the company, several.
This guy withdrew literally everything he had about whenever he like kind of knew the whole company was pretty much going insolvent, based on the court docs and everything else. He literally withdrew about like, I think in total the insiders were like $100 million. And they all knew because it was all withdrawn around like 2 months before the actual company itself went bankrupt. And the thing that makes me sad is I literally had my money there for around 4 months or so, give or take. I did a sign-up bonus. It got kind of like, you know, just thrown on in there, got honeypotted in there. Didn't even know this guy. If I would have saw this guy talk around 2 seconds, I probably would have never put any bit of money in this in any capacity.
$100 million as well. I'm talking about as a user of the service, not as a equity shareholder. So basically everybody came in and said, hey, can I take the same ride on the same bus with you? You're earning 8.8%. Can I earn it? And the answer is yes. You get exactly the same. You have $100 or $1,000 or $1 million, you earn the same yield as everybody else.
And this pitch was really attractive. Not to mention, Celsius offered 8% on your money at a time when Your bank probably offered less than 1%. Mashinsky said this is...
So to chime on some of that type of stuff too as well, because some people kind of call it the interest rates, at least from my perspective on this one, I think the actual treasury bonds at that point were around 9%. And as well, we were also kind of in a little bit of a bull market, I would say, depending on the period of there, maybe like kind of tapering off on that one. So some of those higher interest rates really weren't that, I guess, different.
This is part of how he was battling the banks.
We basically thought, okay, how many people in the world want to earn more money on their money, yield? And we said 8 billion people are going to say, of course, I want to earn more money on my money. So the customer was there. The second part was, we can take on the banks and win. Why? Because 8 billion people are going to join you. And that was really the key to make that decision. Then we went and presented it to 200 venture companies, and they all say, nope, you're not going to win against the banks. So we went to the community. We actually went to the community, said, we're going to build this for you. Do you want it? And we raised $50 million from the community. And then we went and raised $400 million from investors after we showed them, hey, 1.5 million people showed up, 30 billion in asset. They've given us 30 billion. We've proven that people will send somebody money to manage or digital assets to manage. And that was really a breakthrough. No one has done that in 700 years of banking. There hasn't been anyone who actually taken on the banks in a real way.
And this clearly worked. Celsius customers told me that the reason they switched was just to get a higher yield on their money.
Honestly, I was looking for a place to stake and earn interest and earn yield on my crypto.
I was actually first in crypto.com, and then I saw Celsius on YouTube. It had higher yields and everything, so I kind of moved my stuff from crypto.com to Celsius.
People were writing about Alex Mashinsky and all the messaging on the website. You know, he's an entrepreneur that had created all these companies and he didn't need the money. You know, this was billed as a high yield savings account that was outside the traditional financial systems.
Hello.
And one of the big things too to chime in this one is that they literally had like $750 million raised around a few months before this kind of big major collapse. So you kind of see the news and you see that some company literally rose $700 million, which is astronomical amount of money, especially with Bitcoin and crypto kind of going so skyrocketed. That is some insane amount of money. Now, at the same time, too, there was also big things like the Canadian Pension Fund that had literally hundreds of millions of dollars, like literally Canada. Like, I'm not even joking. It's literally Canada itself had money invested into this actual program in terms of equity. As well as also there's even one of the biggest withdrawals, like around $50 million, was quite literally like governments. Like there were literally governments and other different types of countries that had millions upon millions of dollars inside this business. So you're seeing this in the news. You're seeing Canada. You're seeing all these different types of companies. You're seeing someone like an Alex Mashinsky over here too as well. And you're like, okay, it makes kind of sense, especially with crypto having so much money. We saw crypto.com quite literally buying like little like sports stadiums. Seeing the same thing with FTX too as well. And we all know how those also went too.
Look, of course, in hindsight, maybe these high interest rates should have been obvious red flags, but at the time, because of other crypto projects, things didn't seem so crazy.
Exactly.
There was also others that were much, much bigger and much higher. You know, look at Luna and stuff like that. So in comparison, it didn't seem as crazy at the time.
But it wasn't just the competitors who convinced people. It was Mashinsky himself, who gave a really compelling argument that banks were lending out your money and keeping most of the profit for themselves. And he was going to do something different.
And we're paying fees upon fees upon fees. They charge us $24% per year to basically borrow money on our credit card. They charge us 24%, but they pay us 0.1%. So where is all that profit going to, right? It's going to the toll collectors. So the opportunity is really for all of us to, again, go off this toll highway road and go into a new world where we don't pay any tolls, we don't pay any fees, we act in our best interest.
And this is the vision that most people bought into. Alex was going to lend out your money.
I mean, I know I'm going through like a life-altering, changing thing that makes me want to cry myself to sleep every night, but I just kind of want to make a comment that CoffeeZilla's like little couch thing over here looks so comfy, and I literally want to lay on this. I'm just saying, like, you just look so chill right now.
And pass most of the profits back to you. 80%, in fact.
And that was the argument that was repeatedly said. I remember them talking about how 80% of their profits were returned to users as a reward. And so that's what I thought I was doing. I thought I was loaning money to someone that had posted enough collateral to pay back in the event of a default.
We then lend it to the institution. The institution are the ones paying the interest. So we've collected over $700 million of interest from the institution and distributed most of that. 80% of that went to the retail users. 80% of whatever we collected. Celsians next year are benefiting because we are lending the collateral you gave us, redistributing 80% of that income with all the other Celsius.
So just in case anyone's kind of missing on this one space, like you give them, like, let's say they have like $1 billion, and then they go loan out to, let's say, like Wells Fargo for $1 billion, but they pay like 10% interest in theory, and then they'd be like, okay, like we just have to have this cash money right offhand right now, maybe a lot of crypto exchanges or whatever it may be, and then we'll give you, let's say, 12%. You go pay people 8%. The company itself takes like a 4% fee. In theory, if it actually worked out normally, then makes sense. But with crypto, there's a lot of fraud, a lot of just people lying, and as well, sometimes these deals are actually not fully collateralized. So some deals would be like, hey, we'll give you $200 million to give us $1 billion. And then guess what? A company's probably incentivized to want to try to keep that $800 million, if that makes sense.
Win, win, win.
Now, of course, if that's not enough to convince you, Celsius also said that in addition to making high yield, they were extremely conservative. They told customers that there was collateral backing up all their loans in case of a disaster. And the key thing to understand here is that this secured loan with collateral is much less risky than unsecured loans where there is no collateral. And ultimately, Celsius said because of this, a bank run wouldn't affect them.
And every day, we have a process, the daily reconciliation process, where our team, like 20 or 25 people, get on a call and grind through all the tokens and all the coins and make sure that we have more coins than what we owe the community, right? That's our process. And no bank in the world can do that for you because they never have enough assets to return for you if there is a run on the bank.
And these promises of safety and collateralization were key to people actually putting their money in with Celsius.
When I deposited my money in Celsius, I thought their primary business model was over-collateralized lender. I thought they would deposit more assets than they borrowed money on the platform and they'd pay interest to pay a return. And so that's
this guy's like a Star Wars hat.
I'm not going to lose my money because all these things, all of the loans are over-collateralized and I'm able to earn a yield.
And look, all of this sounds great. And so far we've been establishing why people were so excited about Celsius in the first place. So if that was the case, then what's the problem? Well, the problem was Celsius went bankrupt. And not everything was as it seemed.
And this is the point where we're
Let's go
at
back to the
right
studio.
now for the past 9 months.
Crypto lender went from managing billions in assets to filing for bankruptcy in just a matter of months.
CNBC obtained dozens of internal documents that in part show disorganization as prices drop and the industry faces a liquidity crunch.
The collapse of Celsius came as a huge surprise to anyone listening to Alex Mashinsky. All the way up to shutting down, he had claimed that Celsius had billions of dollars in liquidity just ready for withdrawals.
We have billions of dollars in liquidity. So anyone who wants to withdraw, that's a service. You can withdraw at any time.
So what happened? If that was true, why did it fall apart? Well, the picture wasn't clear at the time. We heard allegations from people like Dirty Bubble Media that Alex Mashinsky was selling his own tokens. We also found out that Alex withdrew money off of Celsius before it shut down. But at this point, we didn't fully understand why Celsius had collapsed. Was it just incompetence or greed? These were open questions until a few weeks ago, because that's when the court appointed.
This is where I talked about the 900 different page examiner's report that basically got brought up over here. So, yeah, this is some kind of crazy stuff. There is so much drama. I'll probably be able to go and talk another 5 minutes on top of, well, this video itself. There is so much money that was stolen. They were essentially using their Celsius token, and they were using other assets from the company itself to go and buy the same token as they were literally selling at the same exact time. Like, I'm sure Coffee's going to go over like a lot of this stuff in this video, but there is so much bad stuff and so many things involved in this that it's horrendous. It's basically like, I don't know how these people are not currently in jail, and at the same exact time, I'm in disbelief that someone could be such a bad person. I'm sure Coffee's going to go into it, but I just want to chime in and saying, ugh. That's all I can say.
Released her 600-page report detailing exactly what happened with Celsius. In this massive report, the examiner details not only systemic lying, a Ponzi-like scheme, but also tells us what I think constitutes fraud. Here's a breakdown of the report, starting with the biggest lie of all: the interest you'd get on depositing your crypto. You see, for years, Celsius had been telling people they paid what they did because it was 80% of their profits they were earning from all these loans.
And we're very proud as well to pay out over 80% of our revenues directly back to the community. And so this is something that we are going to continue to do. And we look very carefully at all of our numbers on both sides to make sure that we are doing that. And that's also what is helping us decide the rates every single week that we're paying out on coins.
But this was a lie. According to the report, Celsius did not distribute up to 80% of its revenues to its customers because it had little to no profits to even distribute. Celsius also made no efforts to set its reward rates based on its yield.
So a big example for that one too is basically that I think someone did the math and the rates, they were quite literally hemorrhaging money. I think they gave over $1 billion to other people who were invested into this one. So anyone who was an early bird was essentially, well, getting paid a lot of money off of other people's profits. It essentially was a Ponzi scheme, although through the actual report itself right here was never fully classified as a proper Ponzi scheme, if that makes sense. There was, I think, around a 4-day proper period that it was actually confirmed using other people's assets to go and basically redistribute, but at the same exact time, this one, they also went bankrupt. So it's kind of one of those weird things where it's kind of weird legality. But either way, they were hemorrhaging money nonstop, and they never had a profitable business at the end of the day.
And look, I know what you're thinking. If they didn't set the rewards based on what they actually were making as a company, what did they set them based on? Well, on getting more customers. And according to the report, Celsius consistently set its reward rates based on what they perceived was
everything about this
necessary
company
to
just
beat the
makes me want to cringe internally
and
cry.
For most of Celsius's
more.
existence, the rewards it paid exceeded by substantial amounts the revenues Celsius could earn. So for those of you following along, the whole idea that we're paying 80% of what we make was a total fabrication. Celsius just wanted more customers, which, as you might imagine, works when you're bringing on more assets with new users than you're paying in interest. But eventually, when you have billions of dollars in assets, you have to pay rewards based on that. And the Celsius team realized they had a problem. But even as some within Celsius management attempted to lower reward rates, Mashinsky, quote, overrode their recommendations and refused to do so. One example of this was when Jason Perman, a Celsius executive, recalled Mashinsky saying that Celsius could not cut its reward rates because of his belief that our customers will leave us. And that, quote, our investors didn't invest in us to shrink, they invested in us to double. So with this new understanding that they weren't going to be able to lower reward rates, they realized they were stuck with the other strategy, trying to raise what they were able to make with their assets by employing riskier investment strategies to try to get closer to profitability. And guess what? They lied about this too. Even as the company started to make riskier investments, like offering unsecured loans, Mashinsky told people the opposite. He said everything was business as usual.
Celsius is very, very strict at who we lend to, right? So we only lend to the first tier institutions, first tier exchanges. We do not do all kind of unsecured lending like a lot of people are talking about or saying.
That's also confirmed not true.
We do not do unsecured lending.
But of course, this wasn't true. Celsius internally had been talking about the number of unsecured loans they were giving out increasing, shown here in orange. And internally on Slack, executives were furious. Quote, I just told him that the number is increasing and the overall ratio of collateral with institutions is going down. Another executive responded, yes, so why does he publish so dangerous statements? Everyone out there, if you have an unsecured loan, tell everyone that I'm a liar. But in the end, no one did call him a liar, even as he literally asked for it.
Here, I'm calling on anyone who received an unsecured loan, go on Twitter and make fun out of Alex Mashinsky. Say, hey, I took a loan, here's my
Whenever I hear
loan
this guy
number.
talk, it makes me cringe internally.
I took a loan from Celsius and I did not have to provide at least 200% collateral.
And through the next year, Mashinsky continued to boast about how safe Celsius was, even as the team began to engage in riskier behavior. In the same year, Celsius would recognize $800 million in losses from some of these investments. Mashinsky told the Financial Times in June 2021 this.
From a risk standpoint, we are probably one of the least risky businesses that regulators worldwide have
famous
ever
last
seen.
words, right? Famous last
Around the time
words.
he was saying this, Celsius was over $500 million underwater on their liabilities, as shown by the black line, which represents a net surplus. By the end of the year 2021, Celsius would owe $1 billion that they did not have. Things were looking bad.
Wait a minute. I thought you said this was a fraud.
It is a fraud.
Maybe to you, Coffee. There's another way of looking at this.
What do you mean?
Well, imagine I'm defending Celsius as a lawyer.
You're a mixologist and a lawyer?
This is where I could go get a little bit cheesy over here, because I've had a lot of talks with lawyers, that's for sure, boys and girls.
Hey, I could pass the bar if I wanted to. I already work at one. But anyways, What I would
Also, just for my, like, I don't know who's even still watching this video. I'm 24 minutes in. We actually have a really cool, dope set I actually showed to CoffeeZilla about, like, I want to go, like, green screen, all that stuff for my actual setup and make it a little bit nicer. Bro, I'm just saying, CoffeeZilla totally copied me. Just saying, I own the copyrights for this one, my spacebar coffee. I think you owe me a shout out for that one. Just saying, buddy. Just saying.
say if you were coming at my client is
Just
look,
jokes, just jokes.
all this lying and losing money, standard fake it till you make it stuff. They could have become profitable eventually. Now, did they fail? Yes. But trying a business and failing, that's the American dream, Coffee.
Do you actually believe that, though?
Doesn't matter what I believe. If a single person on that jury was an entrepreneur, Alex would walk.
Well, either way, your hypothetical doesn't even matter. Mashinsky isn't even being criminally charged.
Wait, really? Well, I rest my case then.
Yeah, nice try. But it's not that simple. They're still suing him for some of the money. He's just not being criminally charged.
And let me guess.
They don't have insider clawbacks.
You don't think that's
for him.
enough?
No, I don't think it's enough. I mean, it's a slap on the wrist. It's a financial speeding ticket for a guy who ruined so many people's lives.
But that's my point, Coffee. If you think it's so wrong, you gotta give me more than this.
But how? You said it yourself. They're just going to claim incompetence. They faked it till they didn't make it.
Ah, but that's because the evidence so far is lies and incompetence. You need to show a definitive step across that line. That's the only way people are gonna believe you. Well, that and...
What?
Well, this might be ironic coming from me, but it wouldn't hurt to humanize the story a bit. Don't get stuck in the technical jargon. Nobody can follow that. Make me feel something.
As much as it pains me to
It's
say
like a
this,
movie scene.
I
What's
think
going
you
on?
might be right. Let me see what I can do.
What does that money mean to me? It means a lot, actually.
I mean, I have no idea what this is my first time seeing this, bro. I showed you guys. I had $267,000. I wanted to go. I do a lot of content creation. I do Twitch. I do YouTube, and obviously it's very it's a finicky thing. You sometimes make more money, lose some money. Sometimes you fall off. Sometimes you don't. You know, this video can maybe get 100 views. No one cares. I mean, maybe it gets 1 million. Someone cares. I mean, probably not. But and what I want to do is I always want to go and have a paid off house, and then find love, get married. Maybe get a little dog, maybe get a little cat. I don't know. And ever since then, I don't know what to do. Like I lost so much. I lost everything. And for a lot of my type of life, it's scary. Like it just made my life a lot more scary. I mean, I'm thankful. I'm still living. I have a job. I have a community, people who watch my videos or Twitch. But wow, just sucks.
Working since I was 14.
I was investing my first couple of jobs out of college.
Ultimately stopped us from buying a house because, I mean, it was half of our down payment was locked and
that was me,
I couldn't get it. So, I mean, it was a big impact, actually.
Honestly, that loss was a culmination of many years of work, to be quite frank. I saw it as my way to escape.
What that money means to me, it's a lot more freedom with what we're able to do as a family.
To describe what the money I lost meant to me is really hard because it's tied into a lot of what it feels like to be a grown-up or an adult. I feel like I have this stunted development. I'm almost 40 at this point, and I'm very aware as a stuntman that wants to be physical. If we have a kid last year like we wanted, all right, maybe by the time he's 20, I could show him some stuff. But the longer we wait, the more I watch my dreams and my future and my hope to be like a proper
I could cry for this guy, dude.
slip through my fingers. It's hard
to
describe what that's tied into, but it just feels like I can't proceed with life, if that makes sense.
I've just been in limbo.
And
I'm the same
hearing
boat.
these stories made me realize just showing lies isn't enough. If I'm going to demonstrate fraud, I need to get to the heart of Celsius. And that's when I found out about the flywheel. The flywheel was central to Celsius's plan to become profitable, and here's how it worked. Celsius was not just a crypto platform. They also had a crypto token called Cell, and they controlled the vast majority of it, up to 95%. So if the price of Cell went up, theoretically, the balance sheet of Celsius would also go up, and they could sustain these insane reward rates. However, in order to do so, they needed people to actually want Cell token. So the flywheel was Mashinsky's plan to do that, to create a positive feedback loop. And the way they did this was set up Cell token like a rewards program, where you could earn bonus interest if you held a certain amount of Cell, which obviously incentivizes people who wanted to get the most out of their accounts to buy and hold these Cell tokens. On their website, they describe this process as a self-sustaining ecosystem, where users would buy Cell, earn more yield, get more crypto, collect interest, earn more yield, lend more coins, collect more interest, and buy more Cell tokens. Now, of course, you might notice a problem here. What if people actually go to sell their Cell tokens, wouldn't that crash the price? Well, Mashinsky had an answer for this too. He told the community that Celsius would buy Cell tokens in order to pay their rewards, theoretically creating demand out of thin air. Here's him explaining this.
Basically, more visitors usually translates to more app downloads, and that translates to more deposits. More deposit allows us to do more loans. More loans generate more income, and more income means more income that Celsius generates from these coins that people gave us, translates into us having to buy more Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cell token, and so on.
So, okay, that's the flywheel. Why does it matter? Well, the flywheel and this Cell token became the place where all sorts of shenanigans happened with Celsius. Because while the community was aware that they were buying back Cell to pay rewards, what they didn't know was that Celsius was using customer funds to do so, to buy their own coin. What they imagined they were doing was that they were using all this profit they were theoretically generating from making these loans to buy their own token, but that wasn't the case. This was because, as we said earlier, Celsius wasn't really profitable at all. So the only money they had to buy Cell token was their own customers' money. But it gets even worse, because starting in 2020, Celsius decided to substantially expand its purchases of Cell for the purpose of increasing Cell's price. Instead of buying Cell when it needed to pay rewards, Celsius began timing its purchases so that they would prop up Cell's price by creating activity in the market. Now, of course, the question is here, why would Celsius go beyond its mandate to purchase more Cell than necessary and artificially boost the price? Well, perhaps it has something to do with the top holder of Celsius being Mashinsky and his executives. And this was the only way they could sell some of these
My boy
tokens
Daniel
without
Leon,
crashing
not a good
the
boy.
price.
Don't like
According
him.
to the investigation, quote, between 2018 and June 2022, Mr. Mashinsky
That
sold
son
at
of
least
a-
25 million Cell tokens, realizing at least $68.7 million on these sales. Daniel Leon, also a founder of Celsius, sold at least 2.6 million in Cell tokens for at least $9.74 million.
So I think Coffee did a pretty good job explaining this, but they were basically going and using consumer funds to go and then buy out the Cell token, and then as they were buying the Cell token with using the Celsius company, they themselves on their individual accounts were then selling those same Cell tokens like on a separate deal. It's basically like, hey, we're this like Best Buy, we're gonna buy up all these PlayStations, then conveniently, hey, I have all these PlayStations, I'm gonna go and buy them and sell them, just like how that is.
Well,
awful.
That's a cash out of over $70 million, while Celsius
and his wife was doing it
buying
too.
These sales to prevent the price from going down. Quote, Celsius often increased the size of its resting orders to buy all of the Cell that Mr. Mashinsky and his other companies were selling. The former chief financial officer would write, "We are talking about becoming a regulated entity, and we are doing something possibly illegal and definitely not compliant." Some employees, of course, were even more direct. Quote, "If anyone found out about our position and how much our founders took in USD, could be a very bad look. We are using users' USDC to pay for employees' worthless Cell." And even worse, in 2022, their coin deployment specialist described their practices of buying up Cell and using customer coins as very Ponzi-like. And a few weeks later, when this person was
You never want to hear that when you're talking about a company. It's very Ponzi-like,
asked where money was coming from to buy Cell, this person would say, "Users like always." This, ladies and gentlemen, is the core story. Not merely lying, it's a story of using customer funds to buy out your executives and manipulate your own cryptocurrency so you can sell for a higher price. In fact, Celsius's own purchases of their own tokens were such a large component of the market that overlaying the price of Celsius with the amount that Celsius was buying results in a near perfect match of the price change. And ultimately, what this meant for the end user is that the money they thought were being used for safe loans or for generating yield were actually squandered on this flywheel mechanism. And the result was that Celsius just didn't have the money to pay customers back. And what's so wild about this is that Celsius didn't even need to buy their own Cell token in the first place. They already controlled 95% of all the Cell tokens in existence, so they could have just paid rewards from that instead of buying Cell on the open market.
But at that point,
When
CEOs are getting
asked
money,
why they did it this way, one executive responded that the answer lies in who holds the most Cell. In other words, buying Cell on the open market was what propped up the price, which benefited no one more than Alex Mashinsky. who executives would refer to as the biggest seller by far and depressing the market, selling up to $165,000 a day. As a result of all these actions, by the time Celsius would pause withdrawals, they had a shortfall of over $7 billion owed to customers, which after a crypto crash was more like $4 to $5 billion. Either way, hundreds of thousands of lives were ruined. And this, in my view, is where Celsius crossed the bright red line. Rather than just being an incompetent lender, they had created a scheme with Cell Token where new users' funds had to be used to prop up Cell Token value, which benefited their executives. It also created a need to use new customer funds to pay out old customers because of their impossibly high rates of rewards to fuel growth. According to the Examiner, this all meant that Celsius Network on a standalone basis has been insolvent since inception. This meant that new users always had to keep on coming in to keep Mashinsky's flywheel going. And when they stopped coming, it was doomed to collapse. This is the textbook definition of a Ponzi scheme, where new users' deposits are required to pay old users' withdrawals. And according to the Examiner, this actually happened explicitly multiple times. One example is from June 2022, when Celsius relied on $33.4 million of USDC of new customer deposits to fund withdrawals of old customers, which
So this is what I was trying to go and say before, is that there was like a 4-day period right here. This like, at least you guys know I'm talking about what I know. This was around the 4-day period over here where they basically were confirmed as of 100% confirmed using a Ponzi-like to basically use other consumer funds to go and help out withdrawals. The other ones were kind of iffy because they were technically like reallocated. So in theory, it was almost like a loan of a loan. So it wasn't really like one-to-one, but it's kind of like you owe your uncle $5. So then you give $5 to your grandpa, and then your grandpa gives that same $5 back to him. So in theory, it's still the same money, but like technicality, it wasn't. We're gonna have to see how the courts kind of go and decide that if it's lawful, but this is actually confirmed Ponzi-like right here. So this 4-day period.
And this, unfortunately, is the real story of Celsius, a Ponzi scheme designed as a way to take on the banks and fight for the little guy. But hey, don't take it from me. I'm just a third party. Take it from the victims themselves. I asked them what they thought.
So this was an absolute fraud from the beginning. I mean, it turns out that a lot of these businesses that they claim to be propping up Celsius were completely fraudulent.
From what I've seen from the Examiner, more and more it looks like it was just a
I love the guy's zebra pitching.
Case of a Ponzi scheme.
I don't care if it was a Ponzi scheme from the very beginning or the very end. It still was a Ponzi scheme.
It doesn't matter if he meant to start a Ponzi scheme, right? But the second you got into those circumstances, it becomes fraud.
They're basically losing money from the very... Let's fucking go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. We finally hit our cameo. Start of the company, and they're literally lying in front of everyone's faces saying, yeah, oh, it's totally fine. Yeah, you could totally keep our money in here. Yeah, I would totally invest. You guys see the EV and everything, baby. Let's go. More if I could. As they're currently at that same time withdrawing funds as they're literally on camera lying to everyone's faces.
He made a lot
now
of
you guys know why I go and dye my hair.
On his Twitter, on his website, on his podcasts he would do, claiming if Celsius ever went bankrupt, all the customers would get all of their funds back. You know, there's tweets of him saying that. And as a CEO of a company, you would take that word at face value. You would believe him when he says your coins are going to come back to you. And now that everything's coming to light and showing that essentially what he was running is a Ponzi, I do believe he should face jail time. And the people that were also
lock him up
with it that were enabling that behavior.
There needs to be an example set, or we're going to see more of these grifters in this space, like Sam Bankman-Fried and others who just take advantage of people who believe in the technology, who believe in innovation. And you're not supposed to steal people's money, just plain and simple. You know, it's called theft. It's a Ponzi scheme.
Just being stripped of all of your wealth like that, emotional, psychological torture. You ruined people's lives, Alex. You ruined their lives, man.
I've seen so many people who are retired. I've seen people who are disabled. I saw people who are basically in like different types of countries that their average salary might be $100 a month and they lost $1,000 and they don't even know how to feed their families. I've seen people who are literally on the verge of being homeless, if not homeless already. And you see this CEO who is gloating about this and taking money out. I think without a doubt, if like the justice system prevails, Alex should be in jail. I mean, I hate, yes. You know what, I mean, I really can't go and be like, yeah, that's literally me. I mean, that's just, I mean, duh, I said it. But like, bro, I hate this guy.
Well, that's our story.
Wait. I was literally the ending line. Wait, that's actually kind of dope. I will take that. I got like the really dramatic last line. I'll take that. I will gladly take that. Let's go. I mean, I lost literally like so much money, but you know what? At least this makes me feel better. Thank you, Coffee. I was the dramatic closeout line. Yes. Thank you. You know what? For me as a content creator, that's the biggest honor anyone could ever go and give me. Thank you.
I reached out to Alex Mashinsky about these allegations, and he declined to comment, except to say I should talk to a Celsius employee named to clear up the FUD. Now, I talked to this employee, but they declined to go on the record themselves, and when asked if anyone within Celsius wanted to speak with me, I was told nobody is willing to go on the record with you. So that's where we're going to leave that. And as for Celsius, the company, they're trying to reopen their doors. They have a new plan to basically distribute whatever's left back to the holders and lawyers. And I'm not going to go too much into the details of this plan, but if you're a creditor, you can visit this page to learn more. It's not a perfect plan by any means.
I will go and say, though, the NovaWolf one is, I'm going to use a really quick recap on it. It's essentially a company that's a Bitcoin mining company. They want to go and keep on mining Bitcoin. Celsius has like a $700 million Bitcoin mining company that actually is worth money. And NovaWolf has actually done stuff with TerraWolf also doing like, mining itself. And you might get a little bit of money back. I think the numbers... Or maybe something looking like 30%, maybe, if you're, I mean, you get a little bit. I mean, I can't complain, I guess, at this point of how awful this whole thing has been. But, yeah, you get at least a little bit back. It's not the end of the world, but it's kind of close, at the end of the day. So, in case you guys are curious on that.
But I'm not sure I have any better idea.
It's not confirmed, though, yet. It's still in talks, but I think that's going to happen.
So that's it for me for now. I hope the wait was worth it, guys, for this video.
It was a good video.
We're trying to level up the production behind the scenes.
That was a good video.
If you enjoy.
I do want to say thank you, Coffee, for even letting me be a part of this too as well. I'm sure he'll never see this video, or he probably won't even sit through the entire thing. He literally it's his own video. But if any of you guys did sit through this yourselves, thank you. Like genuinely, thank you. I'll probably talk about this on my Twitch stream, and I don't want to be like a woe is me. It's my fault. It's the reason why I did it. You just try to do something. You're just dumb. I messed up. I can take full accountability on it, but it definitely has been life-changing, life-altering, and it sucks. Like, it's just, there's a lot of people who I think have had it worse than me. I'm thankful I have, like, a little bit of money, other money invested. I have a job still. I have a YouTube community. I have a Twitch community that supports me. I have a mom that supports me, so thank you, my mom. But people have had it worse, and I'm not joking. There's people who are literally homeless. There's people who literally have taken their lives. There's people who are not in a good situation at all. And that's the thing that hurts the most. And that's why I hope something maybe could happen. Maybe this NovaWolf company can clutch. Maybe not. I don't know. I just feel bad. This is where I would cry. I don't want to cry. I don't want to cry. But I think I did go tell like Kai. I was gonna cry. Yeah. That's it. There's not much else I could say. Awful situation. Coffee did a fantastic video. His video is linked down below if you guys want to check out his channel. He makes very good videos. Thank you, Coffee, if you ever hear this. Thank you for the nice words you gave to me and the advice and everything you gave me. I'll take that to heart. And it's been a hard thing for me myself to go through. And just thank you guys for watching. If you guys actually made it all through, I'm sure a lot of people didn't. I'm sure a lot of people didn't. But thank you. If you guys sub or whatever, thank you. And I hope this doesn't happen to you because it happened to me, and it's not something I'd probably even wish on my worst enemies of all the nights I've cried myself to sleep. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Coffee, for talking about this. And Alex, I hope you end up in jail.